Well, if you think things are bad here, at least we're not Iceland. The president of that country today refused to sign into force a law which would have compensated the British and Dutch governments for the money they spent bailing out people who lost money when the too good to be true returns offered by Icelandic banks turned out to be just that. Paul Mason is with us again. What happened?
Well, let's just recap how we got here. In October 2008, 300,000 British savers were on the brink of losing their savings because they'd put them into an Icelandic bank, Icesave, an online bank backed by an Icelandic bank. And the Icelandic government itself was on the brink of bankruptcy, so it said, well, we won't bail you out. At this point, both the British and Dutch governments had to bail their savers out, and that cost £3.5 billion. A small sum in the terms of what we've just been talking about, but 40% of Iceland's GDP. Now, after much, and they're not laughing about it, after much wrangling, a bill was passed in the Althing, the Icelandic Parliament, to say, OK, we'll pay it all back by 2024, and tonight the President vetoed it, and this is what he said.
It's steadily become more apparent that the people must be convinced that they themselves determine the future course. The involvement of the whole nation in the final decision is therefore the prerequisite for a successful solution.
So, I mean, are the British going to get their money back? Are the Dutch going to get their money back?
Well, if there's a referendum, there's no chance of them winning it. So at this...
A referendum in Iceland?
In a referendum in Iceland, it won't be won, so they won't get it back that way. There's a standoff, in other words. The Brits will stop the Icelandic government joining the EU. There's an IMF loan, which is now called into question, the rolling over of that. But this is also about Icelandic politics. The party in charge during the boom was the right-wing neoliberal party, which said, fill your boots, sent a generation of Icelanders out to the capitals of Europe to man the vodka bars and the sports car showrooms. And I have to say, you know, there is schadenfreude in Middle Europe about this in politics, because that party is now in opposition and leading this revolt against paying things back. The British government publicly is saying, let's do it, let's be quite quiet and let's be very proper about it. But in private, they're saying to them, you don't pay back, you're no longer a member of the international financial community, and let's see how you like that.
Paul, thank you. And that great primer on Icelandic politics. What are the parties called? I'm not going to ask you.
There is time.
Now, coming up on the programme.